Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Dawn Bowerman with Blue Chip, and I'm here once again with Dr. Stein from Sounds for Life. Welcome.
Thank you.
One of the things that we're going to be talking about today is dementia and how it affects the elderly. I know I just pulled a couple of reports from the internet, and I found a couple of interesting facts. So what I'd like to do is just tell you a little bit about that, and then I'd love to hear, what you have as far as information for the audience regarding hearing loss and dementia.
Sure.
One of the things, there were actually several studies. The first study was in 2010, and interestingly enough, in 2010, it was quite controversial. They were not exactly sure what the effects were from hearing loss and dementia. Then in 2011, it looks like Johns Hopkins really did an in-depth research and uncovered several different aspects of what they felt affected dementia from hearing loss. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and it develops, they say, over time with the hearing loss, and in most cases it's masked and diagnosed as other things. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then most current, and this fact is really something, 48 million Americans, according to the Hearing Loss Association of America, may be at risk for dementia caused by hearing loss. That's a really significant number.
Right. And I think that research has really been getting a lot of press lately, and it's really caught people's attention. Even if you have a mild hearing loss, you are 3 times as likely to get or have the early onset of dementia. And as the hearing loss increases or gets more severe, the incidence of dementia increases. So I've seen people who've come in who to me seem like, they're kind of not engaged, they're very quiet, they don't speak a lot, and then I test their hearing and they end up having a very significant hearing loss, and once they're fit with hearing aids, they become a completely different person. They're just not able to connect with people the way they did, when they had
Prior to that.
Yeah, when they had normal hearing or near normal hearing. So it can be very dramatic. And basically what happens is, Alzheimer's and dementia, with those types of cognitive issues, the brain cells atrophy. And when you have hearing loss that's untreated, basically you're not getting an auditory signal to the brain. People tend to think that hearing is about the ears. It's really not. Hearing it is really, you really don't hear, you hear with your ears, but your brain is what makes sense.
Processes it.
Yes,
Yeah.
processes the sound and makes sense out of it. And so if you have an untreated hearing loss, you're not getting that signal to the brain, and that causes atrophy of brain cells too. So when you have those two issues, the hearing loss and the cognitive issues, the dementia, it really can accelerate the process.
Yeah. Is it reversible? So once you get the hearing aids, does it improve the memory, or are those gone for forever?
I'm not really sure. I haven't seen any studies as far as whether they do come back, but I do know that once you treat the hearing loss, you are getting a robust signal to the brain, and you just see a dramatic difference in the person. They're checked in, they're engaged, one person in particular, he just looked very flat in affect, and then once he had the hearing aids, he perked up, and it was like he was a new person.
Yeah.
So
I suppose it's also like reading. When you get the hearing aids and you're experiencing the loss from the brain cells, once you start re-energizing them and the flow is going through them, they may be lost, but they probably come back a little bit. I mean, I have no medical theory on that, but I was just thinking, that could be something just like, exercise. Your muscles atrophy, but when you exercise, they get better. So maybe through use. So that's really interesting. So do you see a lot of that in the elderly? Is there an age limit or anything associated with it? I know dementia is for, we look at it as an older illness. Can dementia be caused in younger people by the, not using those same brain cells?
Definitely it can. The thing that younger people probably have going for them is the fact that they're probably more active, they're probably working, so they have a lot of other stimulation. Once you get into, the older population, they're probably retired, they may live alone, so, that really works against a person.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, great information. We appreciate it. For more information, you can visit Dr. Stein's website, and we will put that up on the screen, or give her a call directly. She'd be happy to test your hearing and make sure that everything for your loved ones and yourself is really functioning properly. Now, one thing though, before we go, because everybody keeps asking about it since it's sitting here between us, can you tell us a little bit about what we see here on the phone? I know we're using it now for the intro for this segment, and I've had a couple of people say, what is that?
So this is a caption call phone, and it's this phone in particular is a demo, but it is an example of the phone that if you have a hearing loss that is significant enough that it's interfering with your ability to use the phone, you can call a 1-800 number and get information about getting this phone, and the phone is free. Basically, you have, through paying your phone bill over the years, paid for this phone because of the taxes and the fees and all of that. So they actually will come to your house and install this and show you how to use it and everything. Generally you would need obviously electricity, but also an internet connection, but in talking to the rep, I know that there are kind of ways that they can work around it.
Okay.
There's also a mobile app for this, so basically anybody who is having a phone call, what the person is saying on the other end is being transcribed into a nice large visual that the person with hearing impairment can see and read.
That is amazing. So if you're again interested in that, she'd be happy to, Dr. Stein would be happy to provide you with that information as well. Again, I thank you for joining us. I look forward to next week. Thank you all. Again, Dawn Bowerman with Blue Chip Marketing here with Dr. Stein at Sounds for Life. Thank you.